you know, Hindu society, which has kept Vedas alive, but it's become very like a religious practice to invoke blessings from the gods.
Divine,
But in order to get Homa therapy out to the whole world, we need to deliver it as a pure science, a Vedic science, and specifically to heal the environment. Because there's so many religions, everybody's vying for
attention.
converts,
Yes.
you know, and there's plenty of religions and paths to choose from. But where is the means to heal our planet? Where is the means to heal our environment? Where is the means to uplift consciousness? And this is what Homa therapy does. It does both. It uplifts consciousness and it purifies the environment. So it is so important, and it's from your heritage. It's what's from humanity's heritage.
Yes, correct.
Vedas. It's universal knowledge.
Yeah, it's universal knowledge,
And, you know...
Unfortunately, it hasn't been...
It's been lost. A lot of it's been lost. A lot of it's been changed to suit people's agendas. You know?
Correct, yes.
So, and that happens, of course, in Kali Yuga, and that's where we are. We're in Kali Yuga. So, of course, we have all these distortions. But we've come to a point where we've just about destroyed our planet. And so there is this divine dispensation to reintroduce Vedas in all its purity. So, you know, there's various pathways, like there's a Satyananda stream there introducing yoga and pranayama, the whole science of yoga. Then there's the Hare Krishnas introducing the science of, you know, chanting God's name, and then there's Homa therapy. So giving humanity a means to heal their own environment, and this is done through not any any Homa, but a particular Homa, and that is called. We call it in this science of Homa therapy. We call this important Homa Agnihotri. Agnihotri. And Agnihotri refers to a very specific Homa that's performed exactly at sunrise, exactly at sunset, to the second.
Wow.
To the second, depending on your longitude and your latitude.
So every time, you just, how do you measure? Like you just
so it's mathematically formulated. So there's actually an app. There's an Agnihotri app now. In the past, we used to have army maps, and we'd measure the longitude and latitude of the place, and we have a calculation for when sunrise happens at this point and sunset happens at this location. And then that's how we'd know when to perform Agnihotri.
I had only read it, but when I see the video and what you guys were doing, it was true. Like, you know, that's amazed me. And this is like so long. We've been waiting to come here see with my wife, like, because she also do the Homa, like not this type of but like Havanas and things like that on a Sunday. And when I see it, like, and suddenly this gentleman, we never meet before.
We met at the Krishna consciousness.
I see.
Yes.
We just get up there. Accidentally, we guys were staying, and they were also staying, and we talked them, and they said, like, let's go.
Let's go,
Plus, I think luckily we are very fortunate that because they mentioned, and I remember the YouTube clip.
I see.
And I said, I'd love to come along with you guys if you don't mind. This is
Your
no problem.
YouTube clip was sent me by my friend from Canada.
Oh, yes,
that's a year or two ago.
It's actually gone viral.
It has on WhatsApp, like I've passed it to probably lots of contacts, and it's gone viral.
It's so coincident. We haven't planned anything today, so it's accidentally just happened.
It's karma.
So I just asked it's called karma, one typo.
No, that's wonderful.
So
how long, when you do the Homa, how long is it, an hour?
Oh no, it's a very short Homa, but it's extremely powerful, and the reason it's powerful is because it's aligned to that moment, that changeover between day and night, night and day. So in that moment, and as I said, it's so accurate, it's to the second. In that moment, there's a flood of prana at sunrise coming in, and on a healthy planet, that's what happens anyway.
Right.
So nature is
rejuvenated
and purified, and nourished. So she's nourished, purified and rejuvenated through sunrise, and then majorly purified at sunset. So there's this bridge between the sun and the physical plane, this planet, exactly at sunrise and sunset, a complete bridge between the sun's energies and the...
Or the mantra?
Yeah, we use a mantra which, you know, Sanskrit people ask us, especially Westerners, what are we saying? And we used to ask our teacher, well, give us a translation of what we're actually saying in this mantra. And Sri Vasant would say, well, if there's 7 layers of consciousness, each word has a meaning according to the 7 layers of consciousness. So how can we give you a translation? It's a vibrational thing. So like attracts like. And what we're saying is we're singing the quintessential music, the essential music of sunrise, and the quintessential music of sunset. The vibration of those energies.
It creates an energy source which then enlightens
so like
the world.
Attracts like, because sunrise and sunset, it's a total bridge between the sun and the physical plane.
This one we can see the timings. Okay, you said it's an application. So that one can we do at home?
Yes, this is to be taught to everybody. We would like every family on the planet to perform this, because this is the way we're going to save the planet. You see, this place is saturated with prana, but prana in a healthy balanced prana. When the atmosphere is full of pollution, which is the case all over the planet, there's nowhere on the planet where it's not polluted. When that flood of prana comes in at sunrise to rejuvenate and purify and heal, it actually can't come in anymore because of pollution in the way, and it is blocking that
layers
flood of prana,
yeah.
and anything that comes
Toxic
through
chemicals
is distorted. So you have a depletion of life force on the planet, and you have a distortion of life force. Everything I'm telling you is just what my teacher told me.
Yeah.
So this...
That's from the Vedas, you know.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of it sort of mentioned.
But it's so true. So what we need is we need a means to enable this flood of prana at sunrise and the exiting of it at sunset. We need a means to facilitate it so that it comes all the way down and does its job. So nature...
So that's part of the timing.
That's the timing.
That when the real good vibration comes through during that session, and that's time we take it.
And the timing is to the second now. Like when we learnt 30 years ago, there was a 30-second window.
Wow.
And then when the planet was healthier, there was a 2-minute window. You know, but there's no window now.
Yeah, I was
there
just
is no
thinking,
window. We have to say that we have to fulfill this attraction unit, which is what Agnihotri is.
Yeah, not an exact time.
Exactly at the second, or we miss it. We miss it. So as the sun is setting over this property, that's when we're saying the mantra. So the light, the fire has to be built and at its optimum beforehand, so that right at that second, when you say the mantra, in it comes.
So
and you can feel it.
But you see, this timing that you're talking about in the Vedas, not just for home, that's fine, but this is how they also the astrological charts for births and deaths and so on have the lining of the planets to the specific second affects the individual. But it's fascinating that
So in the home or the havan, any special ingredients that you use?
Yes, everything specific. So the size of the kund is very specific. Must be copper, of course.
Yes.
Must not have any holes in it or rings or soldering. So it has to be in a perfect shape, because not only, so when that energy floods in, it's sent back out in like a yantra,
reflex.
So it has to
magnified X amount.
It has to be the correct shape, and each there's 3
steps.
So levels.
steps, and they relate to the 3 layers of creation: Bu, Buba, and Swa. And it's all scientific. It's all Vedic science, super science. So you can't have a bigger pyramid to get a bigger effect. It has to be this particular size. And if you want a bigger effect, just more people in the family or the vicinity do their own Agnihotri. So, for example, as many people who live here, we all do Agnihotri at sunrise. So it's not just one person sitting in while somebody else does it. 5 of us are taking responsibility for environmental healing, you know, and it's magnified even
still
bigger.
Your son is with you, because when I saw the video, your son was very young. Just like him or
he's much older now. Yeah. So am I. He's 25 now. He's not into Agnihotri anymore.
He'll
come back into it.
How did you learn about it in the first place? Well, I know you mentioned Guru, but how did you meet them, or did you meet them in Australia?
I just met a woman, an Australian woman, and she had come across Agnihotri through a Polish man who was visiting Australia.
Wow.
So there you go. And then we were so, I mean, Agnihotri, when it's performed, you can feel it. You know, your mind becomes still very quickly. Your stress just dissolves. There's a peace that's there that wasn't there when before you did perform Agnihotri. So all this is direct experience. You can't deny it.
But did you not, obviously living in a Western world, when you first encountered, were you not a skeptic and thought,
no,
you know, like most, you know, unfortunately in today's Western world, people want to see, you know, they have to see something to, you know, in front of their eyes to believe. People want what they call evidence, you know, for their science.
I think it's really very simple.
Experience.
If you're ready by your karma, then you'll be open to it.
Correct.
So we were ready. My husband and myself, we were ready by our karma. We were completely hungry for it.
Very good.
It was a calling.
It was a calling, yes. But it, you know, even as a child, I just knew society was not telling me
all the things. There are a lot more things to.
What was true and what was real. There were so many veils, and I couldn't find it from school. I couldn't find it from my parents. I couldn't find it in church. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I knew that there was so much more to life, and so I and I thought I'm going to find it in India, at the foot of my spiritual teacher, who I didn't know who that was. So I already knew as a child, and I was searching,
drawn to it,
you know. And then when I came across Agnihotri, it was answering more than what I was even asking for. Because I was, by this stage, I was 33, and I was looking for healing. I was emotionally distraught. I was mentally disturbed about the world, about unfulfilled. I was longing for spirituality, but couldn't find an opening, a way, a path. So then I came across Agnihotri, just a friend showed me in Sydney.
There you go.
She said, come and experience this. And she said, it's environmental healing, but it's much more than that too. It helps you to spiritually grow, it heals your mind, it heals your emotional body, detoxifies your physical body. So I sat for it, and I couldn't believe
results.
How lucky I was, because not only was I finding my path, I was finding a way to heal myself. I was finding a way to heal the planet. And I was finding a way to serve the highest good. I couldn't believe my luck. And on top of that, it was a means to do organic farming, and I was a hippie, you know. I wanted to go and live on the land and grow organic food and live in community, and it served all that as well. So it was everything.
You wanted, yes.
And it was my medicine, because the ash is full of prana. We as a family, we became self-sufficient. We've never been on antibiotics. You know, I think my daughter was on antibiotics once in her life. She's 30 now, because we used the Agnihotri ash, which is full of prana. That was our basic medicine. It still is. It's our fertilizer for growing our food. All our food is organic. Our water. Oh, get down. Bolo, get down.
Come on, Bolo.
Down. No, he's not allowed to do that.
All right, you're not allowed to do that, Bolo.
No,
down.
Bolo.
Down, Bolo.
Down.
Bolo. Bolo. Good boy.
Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Yeah. And then, you know, our water supply. So we had no water on this land. We came here. You might have heard this on our YouTube. Well, that's a miracle. But the miracle is more than what you heard on the YouTube video. Because, yes, we got water that was too alkaline to grow anything, and too salty. And all we did was do Agnihotri by that borehole and put Agnihotri ash down there. And the Department of Water Resources was measuring the bores in the area because we were in drought. They wanted to see the standing level of the water of the bores in the region. So we had proof. And the water just kept getting better quality, and they rang us up one day. The Department of Water Resources, the State Department, rang us up and said, can we please sink a test bore on your property, because we can't understand why your water is so good compared to your neighbour's water and why it keeps improving. But there's more to it than that, because you know about water divining. There are people who are professional water diviners. So a very famous water diviner came on the land, and we had been told intuitively that we had sacred water somewhere. There was sacred, holy water somewhere that would heal. Well, we hadn't found that, so we asked this diviner to, you know, scout around the land with his divining rod. And we didn't tell him about the bore because it didn't enter our mind. That's not what we were looking for. We were looking for this spring. And he came up to us and he said, I don't understand what's going on.
With the wire, the triangle thing, it just moves when they find the water.
Yes. He said it's very, very confusing because the water doesn't generally behave like this. So he said there's an underground stream at the foot of that hill there. Then it makes a right-hand turn, goes under that fire hut, goes up to that shed, turns back on itself, and continues along the way, along the hill. Well, in that shed is where the bore is.
And he didn't know.
He didn't know. So the bore company had drilled in the wrong place because there was no water on this side of the land. The water line is
on
that side. But the Devas sent the water under the fire hut to collect prana and over to where the drillers drilled the bore. The water was sent there. How else can you explain it?
Wow.
Yeah.
He knew nothing about this.
Make a right turn,
literally made a right.
Fill it up, go back, and just carry on.
Yes, literally. And I told my Agnihotri teacher, Sri Vasanparanjabi, I was visiting him in India. I said, this is what's taken place. And he laughed and he laughed and he laughed and he said, so you see, when you perform the Agnihotra, you give back to nature and she looks after you.
Wow.
He said the Devas sent the water there. So, you know, our life started with a miracle on this land because of Homa Therapy. And every day we have miracles because the ash heals us, the Agnihotri heals our minds.
So in the special size Havan Kund, what fuel do you use?
We use cow dung, dried cow dung. Only dried cow dung can be used, and only cow's ghee and rice. So you've got your specific size copper pyramid, cow dung, ghee, the exact timing,
Yep.
and rice. And
How many? Is there a specific number of mantras or just a time?
Yeah, sorry?
Is there a specific number of mantras?
No,
you chant,
no, you
or-
just say one mantra with 2 swahas in it exactly at the second.
Wow.
So basically you got your havangkun, you light cow dung in there with ghee 5 minutes before the timing for
Ready
sunset,
time, yeah. And
which
then when
is
the time
changes
occurs.
every day. And then exactly, and so you have to have an accurate watch too,
For the timing.
yeah, what's it called, international time.
Yeah, GMT or
Yeah, you have to
minute
have
meter.
that
yeah.
accurate or you're out. So exactly at the right moment, you've got your rice, you take out broken bits.
Whole
Pure
rice.
rice. Whole rice.
Whole
Full,
rice.
whole
grain,
grain
whole
rice,
grain.
but no broken bits.
Wow.
Remove the broken bits. Mix with a little bit of ghee, put into 2 portions because 2
Even after-
swahas.
swahas, yeah.
And then, and you, there's a mudra.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes.
offer it like this, not you don't throw it, you offer it.
Yeah, but I find it very difficult.
Is it?
So I go like this
Yeah.
and then go like that.
Okay.
So, sunset. Agnaye swaha, agnaye idanna mama, prajapataye swaha, prajapataye idanna mama. That's it.
finished.
And you
2
wait
swahas.
until the fire goes out. Very conducive for meditation.
Inray Swahane, Inray.
Not
Now
Right.
just those 2 months, that's it.
एक
Just-
ही मंत्र की दाइज
Age.
ये मंत्र जगी
Age.
दाइज बा
Bas.
And then sunrise is 1 word difference.
Mhm.
Suryaya swaha, Suryaya idanna mama, Prajapataye swaha, Prajapataye idanna mama. And that's it. That's all you do. And so it's so simple that a child can perform it. It's going viral all over the world. People all over the world are doing Agnihotra. They're healing their environments. They're growing their food with it. They're healing their bodies. They're healing their minds.
there's no wood or anything inside, or you put the wood
No
in
wood,
there.
just
Just
cow
cow
dung.
dung.
Just cow dung.
And no camphor.
No camphor, nothing. Just it's very, very simple, very, very pure. So cow dung has very special qualities.
Yes, that's
Which
the cow
required for
itself
healing
is,
the
yes.
environment. And so it must be cow dung.
Listen.
Yeah,
cow is
that's-
very revered.
that's the
So,
story.
cow dung
and then
is-
with the ash, once it's cooled down, you sprinkle it. very
Hello.
This is my husband Fritz.
Hello.
And
How are
I
you doing,
forget
Fritz?
everyone's name, sorry.
That's, look,
It's all right. Namaste. Nice to see you.
You like the dog?
Yes, dog is.
You pet him, he loves it.
so with the cow dung, once it's cooled down, you sprinkle it into certain areas that you wish to sprinkle the
Yeah,
ash.
so
the ash.
that once the fire and the embers of everything have gone out and the ash is just like a fine powder, that ash is medicinal. So we take it internally, put it in water and drink it. You can rub it on your body anywhere. You can mix it with ghee and it's a fantastic ointment for any problem. You know, like my daughter, when she was about your age, she got a rash all over her body and it was itchy and really annoying. And she wouldn't allow Mum to put ash and ghee on her body. But it was so annoying at some stage. She said, okay, I'll have that ointment. And at this stage, it was red, the skin was broken and crusty. The next day, overnight, not a blemish on the skin. Yes. And these kind of miracles like happened in our life and continue to happen in our life all the time. She twisted her ankle. She's a dancer and she twisted her ankle a day before a whole week intensive. She was devastated. So I just rubbed ash and ghee on her ankle. And the next morning, not only could she walk, she could dance for 7 days intensive. So really, you know, and if we get feeling sick, like coming down with a cold, you just drink more ash water. sore throat, rub ashen ghee over the throat. So basically, Fritz and myself have never had a cold, I think, for like 20 years. Because we're always taking this ash medicine, and every time we do...
Plus the environment, the smoke inhalation from
it purifies. It purifies
internally
your body,
purifies the body.
mind.
So it makes it more resistant to, infections in the first place.
Yeah, because you're taking in prana. That ash is prana.
Yeah.
And then when you do Agnihotra, you are imbuing your whole atmosphere with prana.
Yes.
So you live in this pranic field. And that pranic field extends for approximately 1 kilometer diameter and 12 kilometers up. It's called a Homa biosphere. And anyone can do this. You can do it in the city. You can do it anywhere.
Sorry, before the actual havan, do you take a bath? Do you
It's
snan?
better. It's better if you don't have time to take a bath. If you're reasonably clean, you can wash your face, wash your hands, rinse your mouth, remove your shoes. But I prefer, especially in the morning when you wake up, it's best to, because you go through a detox in the night. It's always best to have a full shower. And of course, if you want a higher level of refinement and purity, then every time you have a full shower, including your hair, and you put on clean clothes. And then that will empower the Agnihotra more. You can always have refinements.
Yes.
But this is rather, might be very surprising to you, but there's no conditions in relationship to who can perform Agnihotra.
Very good.
You don't have to be a Hindu, you don't have to be a vegetarian, you don't have to be a male, you don't have to be a priest. So you can even drink alcohol, whatever you like, whatever lifestyle you lead, you can still perform Agnihotra. The only restriction is when you're menstruating, you don't perform Agnihotra. And the reason that it is like this is so that we can heal ourselves. Because if we restrict Agnihotra to a small select group of people, there's hardly anybody in Australia who fulfills all those requirements. Then nobody in Australia is going to be doing Agnihotra. So there's no requirements other than when you're menstruating you don't perform Agnihotra. And what happens is that people naturally become vegetarians because their consciousness becomes purified. They naturally give up cigarette smoking. They naturally give up alcohol. And so it's changing the consciousness of the planet, and that's what we need. Not only to purify and heal the planet so we have a physical planet, but we need to purify consciousness too, and it does both. And it's so simple, and there's no restrictions, and anyone can learn it. And you don't have to follow any guru. You just learn this Vedic science, and you follow your own guru. You follow your own path. It's just a method, a tool.
Only last night I was talking to the ISKCON devotees, and I said, you have a water problem here. And I said, I'm aware from what I've heard in our Vedic literature that you can perform certain havans or homas, and it might encourage some rainfall. Maybe I'll just pass this message on to them, and if they're willing to just come 10 minutes drive here.
We know them, they know us, but they have a resistance to performing Agnihotra. They feel that just chanting
Hare Krishna
mantra is enough, and they almost feel like they're betraying ISKCON if they incorporate.
See, the other thing is also, I think
it's strange.
Their emphasis also is on individual spiritualism. Not necessarily the whole environment and heal. It's like...
But Prabhupada was right into creating Vedic communities.
Correct.
Organic farming. I'm sure he wouldn't object.
I'm sure he would.
Sorry, one more thing. So do you go into high schools and spread this message? Because I think the change has to be from education of children.
Well,
do you go into schools and...
If there's an opening...
Because I'm a teacher, that's why I asked.
I would love to. If we were invited, we would come. We have been to Steiner schools because Steiner schools are more open, alternative schools. But conventional schools aren't so open. But if whenever we're invited, we go and give talks. Doesn't matter where.
Okay, it's worth keeping in mind. And one more thing, sorry. if I were to upload this on YouTube, you got any objections?
No, no objections whatsoever.
Because I may do that.
Yeah,
just
no,
to spread
it
the
has to
message.
spread.
Yeah.
It has to spread quickly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very
We are
much.
so
આપણે હવે
delighted.
કરીએ પછી આમ ફિલ્મ નીકળે ને મૂવી તેમાં તમને દેખાય કે આમાં જુઓ શું કે જુઓ માતાજીનો આકાર દેખાય આપણે તો હવન કરીએ છીએ નવરાત્રિમાં એમાં ટાઈમમાં
We do, we sort of pray to the goddess sometimes, and so there is Gayatri Havan, where the Gayatri mantra is chanted, and so my father and my mother used to do that regularly, but that's obviously a longer version, you know, and with that sometimes, you know, you notice when you're doing a Havan and chanting the mantra, you yourself notice calmness.
Yes.
You know, and you do realize the environment itself becomes calm as well.
Yes.
And often when that sort of havan is done, you get raindrops in the evening.
Yeah, right. Yeah, beautiful.
like play with like Mataji.
Yeah, a lot of times when we teach, we conduct workshops, you know, go and teach Agnihotri and perform Agnihotri wherever we're asked. And there was a period of time when Victoria was drought, and whenever I would fly in to conduct a workshop, it would start to rain. And then and it happened every time.
Yeah.
And people started to say, "Oh, Lee has just come to Melbourne," because
the rain clouds are following.
yes,
You're going to do a rain dance.
and it wasn't me, but it was
Yeah, I know the
you know the
environment.
divine was
Yes.
giving a sign to people, take notice of this Agnihotri. You know, every time